So the recent issue of Uncanny X Men, number 17, is quite interesting. I want you all to really stick around because my analysis, which I will give at the end of the video, may not be what you think it will be. Let me set the scene. In this current run of X-Men, most of the X-Men are gone and presumed dead with this conflict with Legion and whatnot. The only OGs that are here are Wolverine and Cyclops, who recently came back from the dead by way of Cable. Now, Wolverine and Cyclops ended up linking up with some of the new mutants who are still alive, such as Alex Summers, Mirage, so forth. Also, Cyclops is no longer the leader, and they are trying this whole leaderless approach. Before they were about to go on this mission, in issue 16, Rain Sinclair, aka Wolfsbane, said that she couldn't do this anymore, and she left. She said she wanted to try to live a normal life. And by the end of that issue, Danny Moonstar, who can sort of sense death, as well as having these sort of psychic links, well, she ended up on the ground yelling that Wolfsbane is dead at the end of that issue. So now we are on issue number 17, and Wolfsbane's death is revealed, and it was quite the story. I'm just going to go through this issue and then I'll give my commentary at the end. Let's get into it. Okay, so understand that mutants are sort of under attack by way of the government and society as a whole. There was recently a vaccine implemented for the X gene as well, sort of stole it from Beast. That's a completely different story, but that's going to be important to really understand these interactions. These are the current X-Men right here, and as you can see, there's an X on Wolfsbane's name. So they are at their hideaway drinking. Well, Logan is, and Cyclops tells Logan that he needs to get his ass ready for the funeral for Wolfsbane. Logan said he wouldn't go because he doesn't mourn in the same way that he does. He does, however, end up getting his ass dressed. He does look kind of goofy, but as he's getting dressed, Multiple Man hands Logan a police report, and whatever is on it, Multiple Man says that they aren't going to do anything to them, and that's exactly what Logan figured. Here, Logan states that he's taken Quentin out of lockup, and Quentin is a prisoner at their hideout. Now, she's locked up because she killed Magneto's young clone at the end of the last issue. So Quentin and Logan head to Alex, aka Havoc's car, and he says that he wants to go with them, but Logan tells him that he needs to be there. Now, over here, we see Cyclops beginning to speak at the funeral. And as the X-Men are really just paying respects, Wolverine and Quentin pull up on this house. Now, throughout the next couple of pages, different X-Men are going to be giving their thoughts on the slain mutant. But let's focus on Wolverine and Quentin, who bust into the house as they are gaming. He asks her which ones, and she points out that one was not there, and then Logan instructs that one to leave. Now, Quentin says that Logan should just trust her, right? And that they are the ones they are looking for, but Logan wants to see it for himself. And this is what's happening right here. And this is where things get really interesting. Now, this is where we get the vision of Wolfsbane's apparent death, right? Four guys are walking through a park and one begins to hit on her. Now, he's trying to get her to come back to the crib with him, and she's like, nah. But when he puts his hands on her, things got real. She's telling them to get out of her way. She said no. She then turns into her like wolf self for a moment, right? One of the dudes is like, she's a mutant, and she's like, she's a normal girl. She's saying, I'm a normal girl. One of the guys does make fun of him, right? And says Alex tried to bag a mutie. So Alex pushes her and says, is that what this is, freak? You out here trying to trap normal guys, huh? Now, Wolfsbane, she ends up scratching him on the side of the face, but instead of continuing to fight back, which she could, of course, easily could have did that, she proceeds to just get jumped by them. And by then, Wolverine has seen enough. You already know what time it is. The group of dudes try to plead their case right here, and Logan drops some weapons on the table, tells them to grab whatever they want and fight back. But right as this happened, the Law Boys showed up, and of course, they aren't there to arrest those dudes for anything. They are there to prevent the mutants from killing. They start shooting at Logan, And right here, you can see they're shooting at him and whatnot. And we get back to the bar, and it's really hard to tell how it ended. We don't know if Logan killed them all, but once Logan returns, Cyclops basically tells him to leave since he didn't show up to the funeral. They get into this heated exchange, and Cyclops ends up punching Wolverine. That is until Juggernaut breaks it up right here and asks why Emma Frost isn't on their list of people to find that are these threats, right? And that's really how we end this issue. So for those that don't know what Wolfsbane, what her death represents, it's an analogy for a transgendered person being killed. This is why the guy that was hitting on her was not only made fun of when his friend said that he tried to bag a mutie, go ahead and use your context clues as to what other word that could be, but also pay attention to the verbiage of the dude as he claims that Wolfsbane tried to trap him by appearing as a normal girl, but she's not. So in a nutshell, Wolfsbane represents a transgendered person just wanting to be normal, and the guy represents, as well as his friends, these bigots who murder her because of what she is. Some people will say that this is X-Men going woke, and I, however, disagree, and this is why. In comparison to some other books, this is really the preferable way to tell a story that reflects on some sort of social occurrence. It's not too on the nose like Captain Marvel, for example, issue number 1, saying that she's going to go save someone from a 7-foot misogynist that goes around talking bad about women. This wasn't forced into the narrative, and it could be interpreted in multiple different ways. X-Men have always really had this history of being written like this since really forever. There's far more balance because even with the X-Men, they have these conflicts with each other, so you get these different perspectives. This is unlike many of the SJW writers today that aren't really creative at all. Everything is blunt, too on the nose, and one-sided. This, however, isn't that really at all. It's a decent story that fits in the context of the main story, and Wolverine, for example, didn't have to sacrifice his persona. He didn't change into a new person for the sake of driving home this narrative of social justice. If you're going to try to write in a relevant social perspective, this is the way to do it. But that's going to do it for this review. Hope you dig it. Until next time, man, y'all be easy.